Hello and welcome to another Tower of God video, and today we'll be talking about Hugo, the character that no one really cares about and no one really knew existed until now. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, if you're a huge Hugo fan, I guess, but today we'll be talking about the first impressions. Right now, we know they're a light unit, they are a assassin unit actually, which is kind of interesting because we just had an assassin unit with Yasracha. But I will say, okay, we don't really have a lot of yellow assassin units anyways. So this might be a good change of pace. We never know, right? I already looked at this kit. This character looks pretty strong on paper. But before we get to that, so if you want to know a little bit more about this character, this character from the Western family.
I'm Hugo,
she was
the brightest gem in Tobido's army!
She's also,
Elegant Destructor! Black Mandarin, ignition!
That little mini arc / so yeah, that's a little bit about her. Let's look at her kit. That's what's important. That's what we care about, right? That's what we care about. So let's look at the passive first. I'm gonna go for passive, and then I'm gonna go to this skill, and then I'm gonna go to the ultimate, and then I'm gonna go to the transcendent skill, Elusa. Anyways, so passive, called the luxury with luxury. At the start of battle, Hugo recognizes an enemy with the highest attack as a luxury item. That's like the marker, the little marker they'll have on an enemy. Locks the enemy as her target and becomes immune to their command and provoke. Like, that sounds really strong. Basically what it means is that they'll only aim for the attack of the DPS unit. There's no way that will not happen. They will go for the DPS unit, which is really strong because there's a lot of units that have provoke. So we're talking Yasracha now, that recently came out. We're talking about Rack. We're talking about Karaka. It's not a broken ability, but it is a very useful one. If the luxury item dies, she searches for a new target. I'm assuming that the new target would be the character with the highest attack, and it'll go that way. Whereas like Yasracha goes for the person with the lowest HP after the targeted person, this one goes to the highest attack, right? So additionally, every time the skill is used, she creates a luxury shield with max durability lasting for an sight. She just creates a shield. She creates a shield, which is really good. That basically means that the second that the round starts, she has a shield, which is really strong. Okay. If she takes damage from an enemy other than the luxury item enemy while the luxury shield is active, it is nullified. That's really strong. Basically, it means that no one else apart from the DPS unit that she is targeting will be hit by that luxury shield for a certain amount of seconds. I don't know how long the second is going to be, if it is 5 seconds, if it is 10 seconds, if it's 15. But also, I don't think that includes status effects. I don't think so. So if someone has an AoE stun move or a knockback, she will get hit by those. So that it will affect her in some shape or form. Which is why, spoiler alert, she has a lot of status immunity effects on her skills, on 2 of her skills actually. So that that happens less. But this ability really just depends on how long the shield is going to be lasted for, right? And then, okay. So yeah, if she takes damage from an enemy with an luxury item, the shield's activate, it is nullified. Okay, which means nobody but I already said this before, but you guys need to understand how crazy this is. Only the person that she's attacking will damage her for a certain amount of seconds when the round starts. If she takes damage from the luxury item, the luxury shield absorbs it and the durability increases by any. Basically means that when the enemy team will hit the shield before they hit her health, which is normal, right? And the durability decrease just means like the health would decrease, right? So the only person that can actually damage her is the DPS, and they have to go through the shield first, which is really strong. Anyways, let's look at the active skill, Let's Fight. The reason why I'm doing the Let's Fight skill before the ultimate is because I might be wrong about this, but I think that the Let's Fight skill is the skill that happens at the beginning of the fight. Because normally assassin units have one skill that happens instantly, and the Yasracha, it didn't have a skill, a quote-unquote skill that did that. But the cat appeared immediately when the round starts. Like, the second the round starts, the cat appeared. I'm assuming that it's the same thing with the Let's Fight. It's just not written in the passive. But I'm not sure. We'll have to see. But Hugo becomes immune to status effects and strikes an enemy with Black Mandarin, dealing N of her attack as damage, pushing them to the edge of the battlefield, kind of like, like Gustang, and steals N from their attack and defense until the end of battle. Basically, they debuffs them. She debuffs them. She debuffs them. Okay, and making the immune status effects means that it will be really hard for the enemy to even affect her, to other enemies to hit her with a stun or anything like that when she's doing this active skill, which is really strong because this active skill means that she can't be damaged at all from the enemy team because stuns won't work, no status effects won't work, and then you can't even get damage on her if she's not like a luxury item, if she's not fighting a luxury item enemy team, right? She dashes towards them, and then she deals the end of damage within range and stuns them and knocks them back. So she gets a buff from the skill, she gets stronger, and she takes the attack and defense from enemies, right? She stuns them and she knocks them back. These debuffs are really important. Obviously, stuns are great. Knockback is also really good too. And it's only affected this attack and defense skill effect is only applied to an enemy, and if the target is changed, the existence effects are removed. I don't really know what that means. I'm assuming that this kill only happens if like this. Okay, I can't speak. If luxury with luxury kills an enemy and she is in the process of switching enemies to a different person, I'm assuming the buff disappears. I don't really know what that means. I'll have to see in game specifically. But because the reason why is you're stealing their attack and defense. So once they die, there's no attack and defense being stolen. So I'm assuming that like once she kills an enemy, the steal resets, which kind of makes sense because could you imagine you steal the energy and then you do it again and then you keep getting stronger and stronger? She'll just one tap everybody by the end of battle. So I think they did that to stop her from being too broken, because imagine you steal the attack and defense from like White and then it stays forever, and then you steal it again. Yeah, I think that's what it is. Either way, but basically the reason why it says to the end of battle instead of being a temporary is because when you're fighting the last enemy, it technically stays till the end of battle, right? It stays to the end of battle until you kill that enemy, and then it stops being at the end of battle. Does that make any sense? Is what I'm assuming it means. Anyways, let's go through her ult. Hugo is called Ignite Black Mandarin. Hugo becomes immune to status effects, ignites the Black Mandarin to deal N of her attack as damage to enemies within the range N times, and steals N of attack and defense from target. It's another attack and defense steal. So she gets 2 attack and defense steal, 1 from the Let's Fight and 1 from her ultimate skill. Also, this is kind of strong. Enemy hits by this attack loses all buffs, receives a stack buff block debuff, and receives stack buff debuff for N seconds, and damage increases to N seconds, right? This is why I'm saying that I'm assuming that this goes first, because this part of the skill is essentially, this goes against the character's kit if the ultimate skill happens before the Let's Fight. Like the Let's Fight has to happen before anything else, or else her kit becomes really bad, right? If the Transcendent skill Ulysses comes first, and then after Let's Fight comes in, it's bad. If this move comes in before the Let's Fight, her whole kits fall apart because then she won't have any attack and defense steal to use, right? And she'll be able to steal them anyways, but this becomes a lot better if the Let's Fight happens first, right? Either way, enemies hit by the attack loses all buffs, receives stack buff block debuff, and it happens for a couple seconds, and damage increases to N, which is really strong, okay? So this character comes up, right? The only person that can hit this character is the DPS unit. You go with the DPS unit, you steal their attack, you steal their defense, and then you stop it from them to even get buffs in the first place. And then on top of that, not only do you weaken the hell out of them, damage hit by them is increased by a lot, okay? So basically, once this is going to do a stupid amount of damage, this is also going to do a stupid amount of damage. So we'll get into that. Hugo fires, it's called Transcendent Skill Ulysses. Hugo fires is Shinshu beam that pierces the enemy, dealing N of her attack as damage to all enemies in his path. It's just a beam that does AoE, right? The attack coefficient increases by N for every debuff the target has, okay? Now that might not sound like a lot. It seems like it's a really not a strong skill, but let's like do the math here. Okay, we have attack and defense steal. I'm not sure if this one, like the let's fight and the ignition, counts as two different debuffs, but just for the sake of like, to be fair, I'm gonna say it doesn't. So we have we have attack debuff, a defense debuff, we have a stat buff block debuff, that's 3, and then we have a stun debuff from the let's fight. Okay, I'm not sure if knockback counts as a debuff, but I don't think so. But so you technically have a minimum of 4 debuffs that you can do to this opponent. Okay, and that's excluding other debuffs from other characters. So generally, when you want to build a team with this character, you want to build it with a team that has lots of different debuffs, right? So that's essentially what you want, right, with this character. And then if you do that, this will do a stupid amount of damage. Okay, if the attack and defense debuff count as 2 separate debuffs, as in like this set and then this set counts as different debuffs, you could have like up to like 6 debuffs on this character alone, which is really, really strong, right? So just to summarize, this character's kit, essentially what will happen is the rumble starts. I don't know how this is going to go in game, but you kind of want this character to come in, they target an enemy. Only that enemy can target you, okay? And while she's doing a lot of damage, a couple of those moments she becomes immune to status effects. She can still be hit. She can still be hit by status effects if these two aren't activated. Okay, I don't think this sounds broken on paper, but I think she can still be stunned and all that stuff and debuffed and everything. If she isn't using two of these skills that stops that from happening in the first place, right? A lot of her strength comes from the fact that we need to know how long this length is. Okay, if the luxury shield lasts for like 3 seconds, then this passing kind of sucks, right? But if it lasts for like a good like 10 seconds, 15 seconds, even 5 seconds, sometimes you can just assassinate people very quickly. This becomes very strong. She has good survivability. The only person that can really damage her is a DPS unit, but because she's targeting the DPS unit, a lot of her skills is based on attack debuffs, the like attack and defense steal, meaning that the DPS unit will do way less damage, and then you will do way more damage, especially if you have that ult going. I don't know. And then on top of that, once you've debuffed the enemy and you've used your let's fight skill to debuff them, and then you use the ultimate that does that again twice, you use this active skill, transcendent skill, and that should kill the enemy very quickly because she does a lot of damage based on the debuff the enemy has. Obviously this just depends on how much how big this is, but we'll have to see. We don't have her revolution yet, obviously, until she comes out, and then we don't have her exclusive weapon, but I really do hope that she goes for more of an attack based kit than a defensive based kit, because if you want a defensive based kit, we'll just get the Bari set, right? But we need some boom damage, right? We need some aggression in our teams, right? She's a DPS unit. I want her to be a DPS unit. But if you want to ask me for my personal opinion, I think she's really, really strong on paper, but we'll have to see. They could just make the damage really low to counteract how broken this character is based on what it looks like. But I don't think that she's as strong as people make her out to be, because it can probably get hit by those effects, right? And but yeah, she seems really strong. Also, Marvel, Annette Marvel has this habit of making really, really like unknown, boring characters really strong, so people summon on them. And I think this is a prime example of this character. When it comes to ignition sets, I'm not really sure. I think that if this attack is the first thing that happens when the round starts, then Raihana might be really good on this character. I'm assuming, just based on all these like stealing, I feel like at some point she's gonna get an energy steal too, bro. Like she's gonna get an energy debuff or an energy steal or something, right? If that's the case, Migo set is really strong. So if she's a physical, you could probably do a lot of like funky builds. Like you can have a Sundance, maybe you can have the physical Pierce one that increases evasiveness. I forgot the name of that ignition set, but you could technically do that. Maybe we'll have to see. Yeah, but this character seems pretty strong. I would say that I would save But like, keep an eye on this character because I think she's kind of strong. But we'll have to see the numbers and everything. But yeah, that's the video, and have a good one.